This lesson will focus on reading foundational skills with a specific focus on recognizing and producing rhyming words. These skills are a part of phonological awareness, which is the ability to demonstrate an understanding of spoken word, syllables, and sounds. According to the 95% group, rhyme is the awareness and understanding that words with the same rhyme sound the same, regardless of the onset. During this video, we will cover the concept of rhyming and the best practices for teaching this skill. Rhyming is a foundational skill that allows students to become more fluent and successful readers. Understanding word families and the rhymes found within them allows students to find patterns in words. If students can read the word bat, then they can use the ending rhyme to recognize similar words, such as cat and hat. Words have two parts, onset and rhyme. The onset is the sound or sounds before the vowel in a word. The rhyme is the vowel and the consonants that follow. In kindergarten, we focus on CVC words, which have a fairly simple onset and rhyme pattern. For example, in the word bed, B is the onset and ed is the rhyme. This distinction can help us to explain the concept of rhyme to our students and to help them look for patterns in common words. Here are examples of onset and rhyme in a few CVC words. The colored puzzle pieces are materials found in the 95% group phonics program. Since many teachers will not have access to these materials, I will focus on the concept behind them, which will allow you to adapt this lesson for use in your own classroom. It is also important to note that the puzzle pieces do not have the sounds written on them. This is just for clarification. Before moving on to the lesson, I would like to touch on the two different levels of rhyming. The first level is that students can recognize when two words contain the same rhyme. The second and more difficult level is that students can produce their own rhyming words by changing the onset. For example, if you gave a student the word mat, they could change the to a b and make the word bat. This video will focus on the first level of rhyming, but it is vital that you cover both in your classroom. There are resources for the second level provided in Edify. In order for this lesson to be successful, it should be repeated every day for 1 to 2 weeks until students gain mastery. Teachers should modify the words and clarify concepts when necessary. The success of this lesson is based on short, intensive intervention that allows students to practice the skill. This lesson should never be more than 10 to 15 minutes long, and it is intended to be taught in a small group of 3 to 5 students. Another important aspect of this lesson is that it is based around the gradual release model. If you are not familiar with this model, there are resources included in Edify. The model includes 3 different sections: I do, where the teacher models; we do, where the teacher guides the students in practice of the skill; and you do, where the students practice the skill independently. In order to achieve success with this lesson, all components need to be completed. The first part of this lesson is the introduction, where the teacher states the purpose of the lesson. Students need to be aware of why they are learning something and how it will benefit them in the future. This would also be a great place to make connections to previous learning. Build interest and engage the students by drawing them into your lesson. Ask them to watch the rhyme time video and then discuss what they notice about the rhyming words. The first portion of this lesson is the I do. Here you will model the skill for the students, thinking aloud as you do. Begin by explaining the use of the 2 different color pieces, explaining that they represent the 2 different parts of a word. Show students that the green represents the onset and the red represents the rhyme. Inform students that when 2 words rhyme, they have the same ending. Next, model for the students how to use the pieces to make the words cat and bat. Point to the green piece and say k, then point to the red and say at. Do the same with bat. Point to the red pieces and repeat the sounds. At, at. Ask yourself, do they look the same? Do they sound the same? Yes, they must rhyme. The goal is for students to ask themselves these questions when they start looking for and recognizing rhyming words. Continue modeling, but switch to using non-rhyming words. When using these words, you will use different color pieces to represent the rhyme. This is meant to provide a visual representation of different ending rhymes. Again, ask yourself, do the rhymes look the same? Do they sound the same? No, they don't. These words do not rhyme. The next portion of this lesson is the we do, where you will guide students through the skill. Give the students a word and the pieces to create it. Have the students point to the onset and rhyme, saying each sound. Again, ask those important questions. Do they look the same? Do they sound the same? Do they rhyme? Go through this process several times until it appears that students are understanding the concept. This is a time to correct misconceptions and clarify concepts. If it appears that the students are not understanding, consider going back to the modeling stage. The final portion is the you do, where students practice the skill with very little or no help from the teacher. In this section, you will give the students a CVC word, such as fun, and they will manipulate the pieces, pointing to and labeling the onset and rhyme. Remember that this lesson is intended to be repeated over at least a week, so it is assumed that students will not master the skill in one lesson. You will want to monitor student understanding as you continue teaching this lesson. Since the purpose of this lesson is to reach those students who have not yet mastered the skill, you will want to continually assess for understanding. Most of this can be done through observation during the you do portion of this lesson. However, there is a rhyming exit ticket provided in the resources portion of Edify, if you wish to check in more than one way. There will also be assessments and resources for students in Edify. Most of the resources in this video were drawn from the 95% Group Incorporated. For more information on their products and resources, please visit 95percentgroup.com.